Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again, Hudson County View, live and uncut. Here at Hudson County, every day is a holiday. I'm your host, John Arhitis, and we have a lot to discuss like every other week, so let's get right to it. First, we're going to tell you about the Hoboken Rail Yard project. There's some new developments there, or perhaps lack thereof, but we're certainly going to give you all the information you need to know about that massive development project in the Mile Square City. We're also going to chat with you about Jersey City spending record shattered in both the Board of Ed race and the Airbnb referendum question, according to tallies released by the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission. So we obviously want to make sure you know about that. Local elections certainly are getting pricey these days, and we're going to give you the particulars there. On another note, we're also going to talk about the latest in what is being referred to at this point as a quote-unquote sexting lawsuit between a former Bayonne City Hall worker and Mayor Jimmy Davis. A huge development there, and it looks like this has potential to go to trial in 2020. Again, we're going to keep you up to speed on all those new details. We're going to be talking about, finally, the sentencing of Frank Raia, a prominent Hoboken developer and Politico who met his fate in front of a judge on Tuesday, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. That was on Monday. It was originally set for Tuesday, but ended up being on Monday, so we're going to tell you the details there. You may find that to come as a bit of a surprise. So, with that, we're going to take our first break with our sponsors. We'll be right back.
It takes more than a state-of-the-art medical facility to make a great hospital. It takes a team of dedicated medical professionals. That's the Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital. Medical teams consisting of New Jersey's top doctors, Magnet Award-winning nurses, and accomplished hospital associates, all committed to your good health. That's what you have at the Jersey City Medical Center. Make Hudson County's #1 hospital your first choice. Visit us on the web at barnabashealth.org. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John Arhitis, joined with my esteemed colleague, Mark Bucinich. Mark, thanks for coming in again.
John, great to see you.
So first off, Mark, let's talk a little bit about this Hoboken Rail Yard redevelopment plan. Obviously, this is something that has been in the works since 2005, quite a long time, of course, a better part of the last 14 years. And now it looked like we were finally at a point where the Hoboken Council was going to agree on something, and that isn't what happened at all.
No, not in the least, John.
So the Hoboken Planning Board heard this project on Tuesday, and usually, typically, the planning boards throughout the county are generally pretty quiet and generally uneventful. Just speaking broadly, but this actually ended up being a little, I guess I'll say remarkable, because they decided to take a vote that said that this project was inconsistent with the master plan. And let me read a piece of the resolution here. And it says, the note in the master plan regarding the redevelopment area says, see the waterfront redevelopment plan for Hoboken Rail Yard, which was at the time the plan was made in 2014. This is from board counsel George Williams. And he said, in my opinion, you could say there's no language in the master plan which supports a 50% increase in height. And, it ended up being a unanimous vote by the board, and that led to, why don't you tell us your take on, of course, the debut of our new colleague, Mike Montemurano, and then also tell us about what this meant for last night's council meeting.
Yeah, of course. Well, great first piece by Mike, by our new colleague. Great to have him on board, John, and it was an excellent piece. And so I was at the Hoboken City Council last night, expecting the City Council to to vote on this redevelopment plan. Also the affordable housing units, which was sponsored by council persons Mike DeFusco and Vanessa Falco. But right at the start of just after they finished their closed session, and just a little bit after 7 p.m., Council President Jen Giattino said that they were going to carry over the affordable housing ordinance. That is, the aim by DeFusco and Falco is to increase it to 20%, and then they decided to pull completely the ordinance regarding what to do with the Hoboken Rail Yard redevelopment plan.
Yeah, so obviously this is a project, a topic you and I have both covered extensively. You know, we remember just about, I guess, 6 weeks ago or so, maybe 7, they had that meeting, and you saw those residents very upset, just like everyone else who watched saw. They were, very concerned about parking, transportation, environment, which is not unusual in Hoboken. And then, there was another amendment put forth, and the council approved that. And it looked like smooth sailing, and especially after that meeting that you covered at the actual terminal itself, it looked like everyone seemed to be on the same page. And then all of a sudden, we get another twist ending here in Hoboken. Yeah, and at that terminal meeting, remember I said the last time we met here 2 weeks ago, the vice president of Elcor, Brian Barry, said, remember that, we're at a crucial moment in time right now because it seems like all the players are on board. So given what he had told me 2 weeks ago, and I was expecting for sure that the council would vote on the ordinance yesterday, but again, as I mentioned, they pulled it. Yeah, so I mean, look, and just for anyone that may need a quick refresher, I mean, the scope and depth of this project is pretty big. I mean, you have NJ Transit that owns the 80 acres. You have Elcor, a very large developer, of course. And, you also have the path involved. You also have the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection due to the rebuild by design aspect, which is also a federally funded project, which is $230 million. So, basically any large state and federal agency you could think of has a stake in this thing. Sure. I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed with this outcome. I think they were, John. I mean, that's a sense that I got from some of the residents who were in attendance last night at the city council. In fact, some of them during the public portion, part of the meeting, they had said that they were hoping that the council would maybe take a vote on it last night. Did you get a sense that these were residents or union members, or they seem to be Hoboken residents, John. And but one piece of information that did come out of last night's meeting was that during the public portion meeting, because there had been a number of different residents that had spoken about the redevelopment plan, Council President Jen Giattino said that Elcor is considering, and I think actively working on changing Site 2 right now. So right now I think it calls for primarily residential development. According to Jen Giattino, Elcor is considering changing that to commercial development. All right, an interesting twist. So thank you for that, Mark. We're going to just take another quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net, at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis with Mark Bucinich. So we're going to stick with the Mile Square City. So in a revelation that a lot of people said were shocking, surprising, and completely unexpected, we saw Frank Raia, who was at trial for a few days earlier in the summer. He was convicted of vote-by-mail fraud in connection to the 2013 municipal elections. There was a maximum sentence of 5 years and a maximum fine also of $250,000. And at the end of the day, what ended up happening was 3 months and a $50,000 fine, Mark. I don't think that's what you were expecting.
That very interesting when I read about the length of the sentence, John. And I guess not just me, but other people in the city and in the county, I guess, were expecting obviously a much longer sentence given the severity of what he was indicted on. But according to what you reported, it seemed that his defense attorney, Alan Zagas, did a very good job in defending him and also reminding the judge that he had received like over 140 letters from all his supporters. And even Judge Martini said that it couldn't be overlooked that other than this one blemish in his long life and in Mr. Raia's life, were it not for were not, I guess, for some of his some of the other contributions or deeds in Hoboken, that he may have considered a longer sentence.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we know that Frank Raia is from this trial, but there's also a lot of good. I mean, a lot of people talk about Frank paying other people's rent, taking care of medical bills, buying a stranger dinner, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, look, obviously that needs to be taken into consideration, but certainly I think significant portion of our readers, based on the text messages I was getting, was expecting something a little more severe.
Just curious, John, what were some, I mean, with the maximum, as you said, maximum 5 years, $250,000 fine, I guess people were expecting at least a minimum of a year.
A lot of people were, expecting anywhere from 1 to 3 years. I mean, that seemed to be the most popular belief among, some folks I was speaking to privately. Obviously, there's federal sentencing guidelines. He's a first-time offender. And, his health is not as great as it could be, unfortunately. So, I mean, those things need to be taken into account. But again, a very surprising conclusion into this investigation into the 2013 mayoral contest, even though, Frank wasn't running for mayor, he was running for council at large, but he was on a ticket. And it's just a very, a lot of people felt it was a very anticlimactic conclusion. However, while 2013's investigations may be closed, I don't think it's time to call it a day just yet. I think they're opening the book on 2015 if I was going to place a wager on it. What do you think?
It's a very real possibility, John. I mean, I guess what's even more remarkable is that after he was sentenced, Mr. Raia, wasn't as if he was let out in handcuffs, right? I mean, he was able to leave the courtroom, and he doesn't have to, I think, start his sentencing until maybe after the holidays.
Correct, Mark. Yeah, a lot of people asked me that question, so I'm glad you bring it up. I mean, a lot of people said, when does he have to report? And his reporting date isn't until March 1st, so he gets to enjoy the holidays with friends and family. And, when the new year comes, he'll obviously have to report. I'm not sure which facility that will be. I think it's usually an upstate New York facility, but, obviously we'll see what the federal government decides on that one.
Sure.
But, again, quite a shocking conclusion according to most observers. Fair assessment there?
I think it is, John. I mean, again, I think I was a little bit shocked when I read how short the sentence was. And but in addition to the letters, right, I mean, he even had some of his supporters in the courtroom who made their case before the judge. And I guess the combination of all the letters that Judge Martini received and hearing directly from his friends and supporters in the courtroom, I guess obviously weighed heavily on Martini's decision.
And another interesting aspect, and we could probably talk about this one all day, but another interesting aspect was that the judge said that he had to give him at least the 90 days to show that it was improper, what he did was improper, and there needs to be consequences for interfering with the electoral process, which is an interesting train of thought from my perspective, because if that's how he feels, I just would have expected more than 90 days. But with that being said, this chapter is closed. We'll see what's going to happen for the upcoming investigations, if there are any. But like I said, if I were to bet on it, I bet you that this is not over. This is just chapter 1. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. Just hang tight.
Panepinto Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace. with state-of-the-art office space and an address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation. On-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. 201-521-9000 or visit on the web at panepintoproperties.com. Panepinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. John Arhitis with Mark Bucinich. So Mark, another hot story, I guess you could say, that we had this week was the latest in this quote-unquote sexting lawsuit. This is a case at Hudson County Superior Court filed by Stacy Purcella that used to work at Bayonne City Hall against Mayor Jimmy Davis of the city of Bayonne. She's making allegations that the mayor abused his office by sending her sexually suggestive text messages and offered to also settle a unrelated lawsuit with her in exchange for a sexual relationship. So obviously some pretty bold proclamations made there. But this is a case, as you and I spoke about privately the other day, we hadn't heard about it in ages, probably over a year. Sure. And all of a sudden we got this blockbuster that just quietly snuck its way into the e-courts. And what it says is now, based on a decision on November 22nd by Hudson County Superior Court Assignment Judge Peter Bariso, we have 7 years of call records between Ms. Purcella and Mayor Davis admissible in this case. So I think a twist I certainly wasn't expecting. What's your take here?
Yeah, that's quite remarkable too, John, right? I mean, Stacy Purcella, Ms. Purcella, she's obviously angry that that the court will be able to go back and retrieve her records 7 years back. As she said, she thinks it's an invasion of privacy, and she said that all they have to do is look at is his cell phone or her records from I think from 2013 to 2014. I think those are the dates, correct? And but so she was hoping that through a motion that those past 7 years worth of her cell phone texts and records would not be made available, but in this case it will be.
Right. So yeah, let's give you guys a little color about what's going on. So Stacy Purcella, in an October 30th certification in support of a motion to quash, she said defendants now subpoenaed AT&T through Superior Court for records with different dates, January 1, 2009 through December 31, 2016. This is nothing but a fishing expedition for the defendants to pry into my private life, which has no bearing on this case. So that's from Ms. Purcella herself in this filing. And then later, you know, her attorney in this matter, that she said that this was obviously improper and overreaching tactics to delve deeper into Purcella's personal life, basically echoing what she said that was Elizabeth Foster. However, we have Florio Perucci, Steinhardt and Capelli LLC partner Teresa Lentini, the counsel for the city, made a counter argument, and they said the production of her cell phone records is directly relevant to the city's defenses and is reasonable calculated to lead to admissible evidence regarding the frequency, dates, and amount of text messages between Purcella and Mayor Davis and her production of the same. Wow. So obviously Bariso agreed with the city, and you know, this is certainly going to be interesting, to put it quite simply.
Sure. I mean, I think the defense was making the argument too that that is the city's case, correct? That they needed to go back 7 years because they wanted to establish a relationship between the mayor and Stacy Purcella before he was elected mayor in July 2014.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about this is both the one thing that Ms. Purcella and Mayor Davis agree out of this whole saga is that they've been friends for, or at least they were friends for 35 years. So certainly 7 years is a long time. I mean, I don't know how many records AT&T preserves or how that's going to work. I don't know what the call logs are going to show. I don't think they're going to have transcriptions of every call, but certainly they're going to have access to a lot of text messages. And I guess it's just a big question mark about who said what, when, and why, and where, and all that. So
it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, John. I mean, I guess, well, like you said, Judge Bariso made his decision on November 22nd. What's the next court date in this whole process?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, they have a tentative, they already have a tentative date to go to trial, but it's not until June. So, you know, needless to tell you, it's 7 months in Hudson County politics. It's probably a few lifetimes. So who knows? There could be a settlement. It could get tossed. I'm sure we're going to see a few more motions. You know, this one's far from over.
Sure. And, you know, John, it's interesting, when you first reported on this back in 2018, and when Stacey Priscilla, you broke the story, she showed you all the text messages. But in turn, Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis said, well, this was just farcical, and that Ms. Priscilla was just looking for an easy payday from the taxpayers. So it was interesting to hear his response on this matter.
Certainly was, Mark, certainly was. So yeah, we're going to keep you updated on this just like we do with any other big case. So we're going to jump for one more break. Just sit tight.
Introducing the MyJCMC app, powered by Practice Unite. The free MyJCMC app puts the power of healthcare at your fingertips. Go to the concierge for access to referrals, scheduling, and appointments, see emergency room wait times, and get directions to Jersey City Medical Center health locations. Read the latest JCMC news through their social media feed, find a doctor, and more. The MyJCMC app. We belong to you.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis with Mark Bucinich. So Mark, a lot of people were talking in Jersey City for sure about how expensive these Board of Education races and the Airbnb ballot question was,
Sure.
right? I mean, we reported a number of times about the Airbnb thing was getting up to 5.2 million, I think was the last one, based on the pre-election day filings. Mm-hmm. And now we see the final tallies from ELEC, and these numbers are just out of this world, right? I mean, the ballot question ended up being about 5.6 million between all things considered.
Wow.
From, you know, everyone who got involved, whether that's the hotel trades, Airbnb themselves,
Sure.
and, you know, all the others, PACs and entities that delved into this. And that makes it third all time, adjusted for inflation, behind only the Atlantic City casino referendum back in 1976,
That's interesting.
well before my time, and also the North Jersey casino. Also the North Jersey casino issue that was just a few years ago. I think that was 2016. So number 3 all time. I mean, pretty interesting.
And a great quote here, John, by the ELEC, that's the New Jersey election, New Jersey...
That was the ELECT Executive Director, Jeff Brindle, I believe
Jeff
you're
Brindle,
speaking
who
of.
said, yes, and I was just trying to spell out the acronym, Election...
Law Enforcement Commission.
Thank you, John, for that.
It's okay. No worries.
A lot of acronyms, right?
Yeah.
But what an interesting quote here in the story. When a local ballot election costs more than most previous statewide ballot questions, people notice.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't hear a lot from Mr. Brindle, so it's interesting for him to weigh in here. And yeah, I mean, I think he's, you know, pretty accurate in his assessment. I mean, it's clear that a lot of people were watching this. I mean, you know, obviously when we're talking ballot questions, I mean, we've been doing, you've been with me with this for a few years. I mean, normally you don't see anyone other than maybe the local paper pick it up, you know, Hudson Reporter, Jersey Journal,
Sure.
but this certainly was not the case here. I mean, we saw the New York Times on this.
That's right.
We saw ABC, we saw Pix 11.
HuffPost even wrote about it, I
Huffington
believe.
Post, and so, you know, this was a national story.
For sure.
So it's going to be interesting what this means, as we spoke about previously many times, what this means for the IPO for Airbnb if they do go public in 2020 as planned, because certainly this was not the outcome they were hoping for, you know, losing 69 to 31. Clearly that's not why they invested $4.2 million.
For sure, that is a big margin of defeat, John. I mean, and that 4.2 million went to the Keep Our Homes campaign, right? And they were obviously canvassing throughout the city, trying to inform voters why voters should be voting no. But then they also got some criticism, because I remember when I covered a counter rally, maybe with just a week to go before the vote, I think someone there from one of the community activists, community action groups in New Jersey, I'm forgetting her name, but she said that there was even video of like the canvassers, like, you know, kind of misinforming the voters about what they were really voting for. So in the end, again, a big margin of a big loss, big margin of defeat for Airbnb.
Certainly, Mark. Now, also, we'd certainly be remiss if we didn't talk about the Board of Education race. Again, we try to keep people abreast, keep people informed about the incredible amount of money being spent on this race, and it turns out that they shattered the old record being spent on a Board of Ed race. So yeah, if we go back to what numbers we got from ELEC here, It was $590,019 spent, crushing what was spent in Elizabeth back in 2014, which was about $458,951 total. So, yeah, I mean, you know, Jersey City wins again, I guess you could say, but very, very interesting. I mean, we saw that PAC, Farrer NJ, deeply involved, and certainly they weren't shy about spending, you know.
And obviously, I guess that there was a payoff for them, right, John? Because two members from the Change for Children slate now unseated former members of the Education Matters team. So now it was a split ticket. So obviously, that investment had some kind of payoff for the organization.
It certainly didn't come cheap, though. $465,000 spent. So that's something. I mean, that says, I don't know exactly what, but it certainly says a lot about the state of affairs of these Board of Education races. Certainly it looks like Change for Children, or whatever moniker they'll use in the years to come, has quite a few 12-round wars, I guess we could call them, in store for the Jersey City Education Association. I don't think any of these seats are going to come easily in the next couple years. Would you agree with me there?
That's for sure, John. You know, and you had updated that story, right? That, you know, as far as like what you just said, wow, yes, they did win 2 seats, but at a cost of almost $500,000. But you did update the story that the spokesperson for the LaFrac organization, that Senior Director Jeremy Farr, right, said that, well, an investment in schools is an investment, means an investment in home values. So I guess that was their premise or their rationalization as to why they wanted to spend all that money.
Correct, and you know, also the reason that he wanted to have his voice heard, I believe, I can't speak for him, but the always vocal board president, Sudan Thomas, had something to say, and he said this SCOTUS decision on Citizens United has essentially placed our democracy for sale. So, you know, I think some might call that sour grapes. Obviously, it wasn't a result that he wanted in November 5th. Certainly, he came up short, but listen, with all these PACs involved, I mean, how easy it is to start a PAC or any other independent expenditure here in New Jersey. I mean, who knows what kind of money is going to be spent next year when there's only 3 seats up.
For sure.
And once again, you know, the control of the board will be at stake, because, I mean, it's 7-2 now, but you flip 3 seats, you know, you do the math. Obviously, we could see big changes coming.
So Saddam might be onto something when he says this, says obviously the result of all the spending is because of Citizens United.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, we saw super PACs in the Hoboken Council races, as we spoke about extensively, but, you know, nothing that looked anything like this. I mean, this is, again, just astronomical. I'll say it again, just astronomical numbers for a Board of Education race, as I know and you know, for a position that pays $0, 0 cents. So, I mean, look.
But it was a windfall.
So, I don't totally get it. I understand they have a huge budget, and I understand that you know, it's important to do things for the kids, but I don't totally get it. But that's a different story for a different day.
Sure.
So, Mark, thanks for coming in again, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching again. We certainly hope you all have a fantastic week. We will see you here just 7 days from now. Take it easy.